Hey team, Coach Malik here. And in this section, we're going to be walking you through the community strategy setup. And the community strategy setup is going to be the step-by-step A through Z, everything that you need to get your community set up properly, and then move into the next section, which is going to be around getting your community off the ground and making sure that you can start flooding your community with people so you can actually start getting clients from it. So let's dive in by going over the overview of the community strategy quickly. Okay, now the community strategy is going to be the first strategy that you're going to learn to execute and start getting clients from consistently. Now, there are other strategies that exist. Okay, they are a little bit more advanced and they require more skills to set up and get off the ground. But building the community allows you to start getting clients and making money while you're actually practicing perfecting your spice messaging. Because if you're in this section so far, that means you've actually identified your people, you've identified the pain that they are in, the paradise that they're trying to get to, and your process, which is your spice framework and your unique mechanism. Okay. Now, unless you're a world-class marketer, which you will be, right, with enough skills and repetition, it will take time for you to refine and hone down your messaging and your offer validation. Now, the key to setting up your community is to have your version 1.0 spice created, which you already should have if you're here, because it's very important that you understand the 4 Ps, which is going to be, again, like I said, around the people, the pain that they are in, the paradise that they're trying to get to, and the process that you have created to get them to that paradise. Okay. Now, all of that is going to come in handy, especially when you are naming your community, you are writing your welcome post, when you're writing the description of your community. Okay. So it's going to be very, very, very crucial that we have all of those assets ready to go. That is going to allow you to actually put all of those into play, which you should have already set up inside of your swipe file, and you should have already organized it, right? Whether it's going to be inside of ClickUp, whatever software that you are using, if you have it in a Google Doc, wherever it may be, now is the time to pull it out so we can actually start creating and working on your community, okay? So the next thing that I want to talk about is, what is your community? Now, the community will be a Facebook group that you're going to create for the group of people that you're trying to help. Okay. So remember back in the people training, the conveyor belt system where you can have a streamlined process that you can productize. And that's where we want to make sure that we can actually productize and have a specific community for a specific person to help them with a specific problem. Okay. And that's how you actually productize your business. And that's what allows you to actually create consistency and longevity and actually charge prices and be able to scale your business long term. Okay. Now, this community is for those people that you came up with after you had your people hypotheses. Okay. So this, again, is the reason why this section comes after your spice messaging, and you've actually created your people hypothesis and you've actually gone through the steps and have selected your market and who it is that you're trying to help. Okay. So just to give you a quick rundown of where we are at within the journey. So you should have already finished a level 1 spice messaging. Okay. Now we are here, which is the setup and the kickoff of your community. The next thing we're going to get into is creating your free valuable asset, which then we can give that away to get leads via paid or organic traffic. And then it goes into our pipeline where we can actually serve our community, we can book calls from the community, and actually start getting paid clients from within our community as well. Okay. So the next thing I want to walk you through is, what are the big elements in the community strategy? Okay. So what are the big elements inside of the community strategy? Now, there's 4 big elements. Number 1, get the right people to join the community. Okay. Number 2, provide value inside of the community. Number 3, scheduling quick chats, which will then lead to strategy sessions. And last but not least, getting paid clients from within the community. Okay. Now, as you can see here right below in this diagram, this is how you're going to get the right people into the community. They're going to go to a landing page, which they're going to give their information, right? Their email, phone number, and their name. Then from there, they're going to join your community, which is your Facebook group. Okay. Then they're going to get a series of text messages, and you're going to be doing weekly live coaching calls, which will then get them to want to schedule a quick chat with you, which is just a 30-minute call, which allows you to help solve their problem, answer their questions, and it allows you to actually establish yourself as the authority. And then this in turn allows you to actually create more content and more value inside of your community. And then going into strategy sessions, which will then lead to high paying clients. Okay. So that's how the entire process works. Now, why is it so important to understand the entire picture? Okay. And the reason for that is most newbie beginners, they're going to get so caught up with trying to get the right people or figuring out the right content that they lose sight that the community has a main purpose. And there's two main purposes to the community. Number one, you get to practice your spice messaging regularly. Okay. You're already producing, you're already publishing. This allows you to refine your messaging. But part of this process is also now communicating and sharing that with people inside of your community. And then number two, it's actually providing value and getting clients, okay? Because at the end of the day, that is the goal of the community. Now, why is the community strategy the first step? As a beginner, you're looking at this and you're going, man, this is a lot of work. Why do we just not run the VSL funnel, right? Why don't I just go straight to VSL? And this is where I like to remind students that if you're getting overwhelmed and you're allowing yourself to react to the process of the community, then you're starting to wear the failure uniform and become a limbic lulu, okay? And we want to avoid that as much as possible. As a beginner, it's okay to be overwhelmed because this is something you have never done before. But you have to think like a winner and have a winner's mindset, okay? So why don't we just run the VSL? Okay, so if you're in this section, that means this is the first time that you've picked your 4 Ps, okay, which is your people, the pain, the process that you take them through to get to their paradise, okay? Now, since this is the first time that you've picked them, it's safe to assume that they have not been proven out yet or they have not been flushed out. And not to mention, the reason why we don't just run the VSL is because there are other skills that are required, right? You need to be a good copywriter. You need to have VSL slide creation skills. You need to have the ability to record. A lot of these skills that go into building a VSL that no one really talks about. So when you're starting out, the only thing that matters right now is massive action. Because if you start off with the VSL, what happens is many students will get overwhelmed with the skills and the steps that go into it, and they never actually get off the ground. And that is what we are trying to avoid. We want to make sure that you can actually get off the ground and start making some headway. Now, the second reason why we don't recommend starting with the VSL strategy is because it does not work for beginners or newbies, because it requires someone to understand their 4 Ps like the back of their hand. You need to have your 4 Ps flushed out, consistent, ready to go. Like even for us, we ran the community strategy for over a year consistently until we refined our spice messaging, okay? And then we built our VSL, and it was easy because we had done the reps for an entire year. That is why we start you all off with the community. Now, from the outside in, it looks like a lot of work. But once you're in, it doesn't take more than 2 to 3 hours per week. And most of the time is spent scheduling and doing quick chats and strategy sessions, which will lead to you actually getting paid clients, okay? So don't let the fear of getting your feet wet hold you back, okay? Now is the time to take action, to put one step in front of the other, okay? You want to lean towards working hard because most beginners struggle with the character trait of resilience and grit. That is what is required when you're doing the community strategy, because this is the stepping stone for your growth. You have to crawl before you can run. So don't let the work hold you back from moving towards your North Star, okay? And always remember, results equal skills plus identity, okay? Now, some of the character traits that you need to identify with is going to be resilience and it's going to be grit. So you can actually do the work that is required to take you from step 1, which is the community strategy, right? And validating your offer, then going into the VSL strategy, because the community strategy by itself will get you to $20,000 a month and even all the way up to $100,000 a month. That's $1 million a year, okay? Then the next step goes into the VSL strategy, which will take you to $100,000 a month and even up to $300,000 a month. All of this, as you can see here, is all stepping stones, okay? You can't expect to run when you haven't even crawled yet. And that's the challenge with a lot of newbie beginners, is because they need the character trait of resilience and grit to push through. So it is very crucial that we understand why the community strategy and getting your offer validated and getting your spice messaging refined is the most important first step that we need to take to ensure that you are successful long term. Because none of this works if we actually do not refine and use this as a stepping stone to get to where we want to go, okay? Now, really quickly, I do want to remind you that don't worry about making this perfect, okay? Now, this is a reminder for everyone. Don't get caught up with having perfect messaging right off the get-go, okay? This is why it's called version 1.0 spice messaging. You need enough to get the ball rolling, because by taking action, you will come up with the answers. Now, I know that sounds confusing. The reason for that is because the beautiful thing about the community strategy is that inside of your community, it'll allow you to practice your frameworks over and over again until they are polished. As long as you've created your version 1.0 spice messaging, this is a hypothesis that you will have real world practice, which will happen inside of your community. And every single week in your weekly live streams, you'll be getting feedback, and then you'll be iterating and tweaking and formulating from there. So when we were doing the community strategy, it took us 6 iteration cycles to come up with our spice messaging framework, okay? We went through this hypothesis, we tested it out with the real world, which is going to be your community, and then you're going to create the next version of it, and then you're just going to keep rinse and repeating the cycle until you have a polished version. Now, the best part about all of this is that you get to experiment all while still making money and getting clients. So there's no delay period in what you're going to be doing and the people that you're working with and the people that you are helping. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions about this section, about anything that we have discussed, make sure to ask in the student community. You can use the comment sections below. And that was the community strategy overview. And I'll catch you guys in the next section. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. In this section, what we're going to be going over is what will we actually cover in the community setup. That way, you have a 30,000-foot overview of exactly what is going to be happening in the community setup, okay? So in this setup, we're going to go into setting up the foundations of your community and getting it up and running. So by the end of the setup, you will have a fully functioning community ready for people to get into, okay? Now, this is the pre-work that we need to do to get it live so we can have it ready to start having conversations and getting paid clients from, okay? Because without a community, you can't get people in there and we can't start having conversations which will lead to you getting paid clients. So there are 5 steps that we're going to take in the community setup, okay? So step number 1 is going to be about naming and creating your community. Step number 2 is going to be all about community setup on Facebook, step by step. Step number 3 is going to be qualification questions inside of your community. Step number 4 is going to be about having a welcome post. And then step number 5 is all going to be about setting up your Facebook profile. Now, each of these steps will be broken down individually into its own section, so you can actually do this step by step. And we are super excited to dive in with you to help you get your community off the ground. Now, I do want to remind you, and the reminder that I have is that for you to be resourceful, okay? Now, I know you're not the type of person who wants to be remote controlled or spoon-fed or followed blindly. But the thing is, not every student is like you. And humans need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. And this is a reminder for all students that education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. Because then you can think independently and actually be able to innovate and be resourceful to add your own spin and spice to it, right? Now, what we're doing is we're just going to be providing the prompts, the guides, and the examples in these sections and trainings. But you will still need to tap into your resourcefulness and do the dang work. Sit down and actually think. To be successful, to be a winner, you have to sit down and allow yourself to process the information that we are giving you to come up with your own variations of it. Now, please, please, please do not be a limbic lalu. Don't be somebody who wears the failure uniform and somebody who doesn't go into thinking time and doesn't schedule the time that is actually required or learns to be resourceful. Okay? We don't want you to be tied to us for the rest of your life. We want you to innovate and have freedom and create these things for yourself. Now, really quickly, we want to make sure that we can give credit where credit is due. This is something that you've seen. It's a pattern. We've done this since certification, and we don't want to be the guru on top of the mountain. Okay? We were not born knowing everything. It's a complete lie, and it's not ethical. Now, if we've seen farther, and if we're here educating you and coaching you and pouring into you, it's because we've had the ability to stand on the shoulder of giants, okay? These people have come before us and they've paved the way. And so we want to make sure that we are actually not stealing any ideas from others and we're giving credit where credit is actually due, okay? Now, this community strategy is a compilation of things that we've learned from Landon Stewart and Chris Stapleton. We've learned this from Andrew Cruzy, Russell Brunson, and the author of Building a Story Brand, Donald Miller. And then we've actually stress tested it by ourselves by running this strategy consistently for years. So we want to make sure that you're not thinking that we're some guru on top of the mountain, that we've magically come up with these things. That is not true. We've learned, again, going back to the results formula, we wanted a result and we needed the skill set, which is knowledge times reps. And so we went out and we sought the knowledge of people who have paved the way before us. And that's why we want to make sure that we are giving credit where credit is due. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions about this section or anything that we have discussed, make sure to drop your questions or comments in the section below. Now, this section was all about what we will be covering in the community setup. In the next section, we are going to be going into how to name your community, which is going to be the first step in the community setup to get your community off the ground. And I will catch you guys in the next section. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this section where we're going to talk about naming your community. Okay, so let's jump into it and dive right on in. So naming your community, this training is going to be very, very, very tactical because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be coming up with the name for your community. Okay. Now, naming your community is the first step in the process before you can start getting people into the community, get it properly set up so you can start nurturing them, which will then lead them to raising their hand and wanting to say that they want to work with you. Okay. They want to take the next step. Okay. So it's going to be very, very, very tactical. It's going to be jam-packed. So let's actually jump right on in and talk about how to name your community. Okay. So now let's talk about the naming the community framework. Okay. So really there's three things that you need to understand when it comes to naming your community. Okay. And we really want to make sure that people understand, what is this community about? What is the benefit that your community provides? And who is this community for? Okay. And so really, once you can get those three things across inside of the name of your community, even if somebody does not know about you or about your community or what you do, they'll just be able to see the name of the community and go, that is for me. And we want your people to be able to see that and want to be a part of that community. Okay. Now, once you understand the framework, step one of figuring out your community name is to really go down the list and answer these three questions. Okay. Question number one is, what are the three ways that you would describe the benefits of your community? Okay. So that's question number one. Then question number two, is there something in your frameworks that you'd like to use in the community name, right? Maybe your unique mechanism or your frameworks, whatever it may be. And then last but not least, who are you planning to help inside of your community? Now, all of this is going to come from your 4Ps, right? All of this is going to come from your swipe file that you should have already created, because you should have done the people section and have the people that you are trying to help, okay? So let's actually go through an example of what this would actually look like, okay? So for this example, I'm going to be going through as if I am creating a community for remote wellness academies, okay? And so a benefit of joining the community is you will learn how to create a six-figure income online, okay? So that's one of the benefits. Right, another benefit is you will learn how to build a long-term sustainable business. And number 3, you will learn how to avoid wasting time and energy on the things that don't work, okay? So that's an example of the 3 ways you would describe the benefits of your community, okay? Then going into question number 2, which is there something in your frameworks that you'd like to use in the community name, okay? So remote wellness is our unique mechanism. Remote Wellness Academy is the name of the business. And so I'm going to use remote wellness inside of my frameworks. Now, the cool thing is we'll be able to use remote wellness as the name of our company as well, which you can do, and you'll see later down the line where you can insert the brand name as well inside the name of your community, okay? Then going into question number 3, which is all about who are you planning on helping inside of your community, okay? So for remote wellness, we help career professionals who are looking to transition out of their 9-to-5, right? And all of this is going to come in handy as you're going through and designing your community. So let's walk you through some templates and some ideas and some examples that you can actually utilize and get your creative juices flowing by looking at some of these examples, okay? So template number 1, okay, is all about insert your brand name. As you can see, this is a common theme because we want to be able to insert the name of your company into your community name, okay? Because this is going to be your brand's community. And so you want to make sure that your brand name is there. Now, if it's not there, is that a big deal? No, it's not. You're going to be able to change this over time. So don't worry, okay? Then you can get into insert your brand name, the problem that you solve for the ideal person, okay? So if I was to label this as an example, you can take a look at it right here, right? Which is Live for Health is the remote wellness practice name, right? The problem that you solve is shed weight and live healthier, right? And shed weight and live healthier strategies for women 40 plus, ideal people, okay? So that's the example right there. The example number 2 or template number 2 that you can use is you insert your brand name, then you go free solution that you provide, okay? And when people use free, it's usually along the lines of free community, collaborative community, whatever it is that you want to throw in there. So for this example, you can see right here, Live for Health, free community to shed weight and live healthier for women, okay? So you can see that right there as an example right below. And then in template number 3, this is where we go into insert your brand name. Then we talk about community to help and what is the pain point, right? I'm going to use weight loss as an example. Community to help shed weight and release inflammatory fat for women, okay? That would be the example. Now you can see here where it says Awaken the Warrior is the name of the brand, right? This is for men. So we kind of switch this around, looking to have impact and income. Okay, what's the pain point? The men are not having impact and income. So that community is for them. Okay, so you can actually go through these examples and actually get your creative juices flowing to see which ones you like more, which ones you'd like to use to format, and which one you want to actually roll with as the name of your community. Now, remember, biggest thing I do want to remind you is that the name of your community is not going to be forever. Okay, so you want to make sure that you just get the name of your community going, and it's going to be a placeholder, and I guarantee you'll change it over time. That's not a big deal, but we just want to have something to get the ball rolling so you're not stuck in paralysis by analysis, right? You're not being a limbic lulu. You're actually going through the process. You're getting the name done, and you're like, hey, I'm going to get to the next step by just doing the work. And at the beginning, the biggest thing is just doing the work and getting things off the ground. And as you're getting things off the ground, as you're communicating with people, as you're doing your quick chats, as you're actually working inside of your community and seeing what people are reacting to and saying, you are going to be able to tweak your marketing message, your unique mechanism, and the things that are going on in there. So don't worry, just get launched. Okay. Get your version 1.0 spice, get your community set up, and let's start getting you launched. Okay. So you can see here, what you want to do is I recommend coming up with 3 names to your community. Okay. Come up with 3 names, dump them right down. If you want to come up with more, absolutely do it. Right. And then just massage it for a little bit. Give it like a day and then pick the name that stands out to you the most. Okay. Again, pick the name that stands out to you the most. And then just roll with it, because right now we just want to take massive amounts of action. Okay. So now moving along, quick few things that we want you to remember is once you finalize your name, you want to make sure that your community name is less than 75 characters. Okay. And the reason for that is Facebook has a limit on how long the name of your community can be. Okay. So the best way to do that is once you come up with your community name using the questions above, right? You can use a website called Word Counter. Okay. And we've linked it right here for you. You can go ahead and hit this link and it'll take you to Word Counter. Okay. Then what you're going to do is copy the name of your community, paste it into Word Counter. Okay. Just like I did here, you can see Live for Health. Okay. And it's going to give you a number right up here. Okay. You want to make sure that this number is less than 75 or exactly 75. If it's over 75, it will not fit in the amount of characters that is allowed in the Facebook group name. Okay. So you want to make sure, again, I repeat, make sure that it is at 75 characters or less than 75 characters. If not, then you're going to need to adjust the name a little bit until it fits within 75 characters. Okay. So make sure you utilize this tool to be able to check, is my name under 75 characters? Okay. Because if it's not, then it's like you wrote a paragraph as a name. I'm just kidding. But if that's what you did, you might need to tweak it around to make sure that it actually fits. So you can see here, the names that we've labeled up here above for you as examples, they're all at 75 characters or below, right? So you can use these as examples to come up with your own. And then when you come up with your own, make sure to test it with character counter so you can actually make sure that we are abiding by the character limits that is set inside of the Facebook group settings. Okay. So with that being said, one thing that I do want to remind you is that your name of your community is not set in stone. I've said this throughout this entire section, throughout this entire main training, right? As you grow your community, you will learn more from the types of clients who are joining, okay? You'll learn from the people that are joining your community, right? And as you continue to share your frameworks, that's going to affect your name change as well over time. So the goal right now, it's not to be perfect. Your name is not going to be perfect, okay? This is the first time you're doing this. Do not worry. Do not get overwhelmed. Do not become a limbic lalu. You are a winner, right? And what winners do is they come up with their version 1.0 hypotheses, and then they actually start hitting the ground running. So the biggest thing is just get the ball rolling. Do not major in the minors. Come up with a name that you like, and let's get the ball rolling for your community. And over time, as you create multiple iterations, you will get better, you will tweak it, and you will find the name that is perfect for you over time. And that's okay if it doesn't come to you right away. It will come as you're communicating with your community, as you're communicating with the people that you want to work with, as you're doing your quick chat, as you're doing your weekly live coaching calls. All of this will make sense as you focus on the process. Okay. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that was the naming your community section. Okay. If you have any questions about the section or anything that we discussed, make sure that you ask in the student community. You can comment in the section below, and we will be able to answer any questions that you may have. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap up this section, and we'll catch you guys in the next section. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this section where we're going to be going into step number 2, which is the community setup. So you should have your community already named. You should be ready to go. And now we're going to go into the next step, which is the community setup, making sure that everything is set up so you can place your name, you can get your cover photo, you can get your community off the ground and build the Facebook group. So that way you are ready to go. So let's jump in and make this happen. In this training, what we're going to do is we're going to get into setting up your community. Okay. So this is going to be a very tactical step-by-step training. We're recommending watching every step and then pausing the video if you need to as you're following along, and do it on your end as well. Now, before we set up your group, we need to make sure that you have the name of your community, okay? This is going to be very, very, very crucial because you'll need the name of your community that we did in the previous training to actually go through these 4 parts and set everything up, okay? So there's going to be 4 parts to this section that we're going to be going into. Number 1, we're going to be actually be going into the community setup on Facebook. So this is going to be a tech tutorial walking you through it. Then we're going to go over the community description. Then we're going to go into part 3, which is going to be adding the description to the Facebook group. And then last but not least, we're going to be going over how to create your community cover photo and then also how to place it inside of your Facebook group as well. So let's jump in and start making this happen. So the first step, guys, is going to be how to set your community step by step on Facebook. So this is going to be an entire tech tutorial. So we're going to switch over to a quick mini training. We're going to walk you through how to do that and how to get that set up. So we'll go ahead and switch over to that mini training now. All right, team, welcome to this mini training where we're going to walk you through step by step how to set up your community on Facebook. So let's jump in and start building out your community. So the first thing you want to go ahead and do is you want to head over to facebook.com and you want to make sure that you're logged in to your profile. Now it should look something like this. If you have Newsfeed Eradicator on, it should look like that as well. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to head over into this section where it says groups. So let me show you where this is. Right here on your main profile. If you have a hard time getting here, there's a Facebook button in the top right-hand corner that you can select, and you'll be able to actually get to your main menu or your main feed, right, is what Facebook calls it, or home, and you'll be able to see this groups icon, okay? Now from there, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select the group icon right there, okay? Then what it's going to do is going to take us to a whole bunch of groups. Then right here, you can see that it has an area that says create new group, okay? And that's what we're going to be doing. You're going to want to select that, create new group. So for this example, now we're going to go ahead and name your group. For this example, I'm going to call it RWA test. Okay, let's do RWA test. Now, again, do not worry. This is not permanent. You can change it at any time. So we're right here in this next section. Under privacy settings, we're going to select private. Okay, under privacy settings, we are going to select private. So here, we're going to go ahead and select private. Okay, then in this next area right here, number 5, it says hide group settings, right? We're going to actually put visible. Okay, you can select here hidden or visible. We actually want it to be visible. Now it says invite friends. Let's keep it at optional. We do not want to do that for now. We're going to come back and this is going to be part of the community kickoff, which will allow you to actually invite people into the community the right way, and you can be selective with who you're inviting in. Then the next thing what we want to do is we want to hit create, and voila, your Facebook community is created. Now let's move on to step number 2, which is going to be adjusting your community settings. So the first thing that we want to go ahead and do is we want to scroll down and you'll see this settings icon right here. We're going to go ahead and actually select group settings. Let's go ahead and select group settings. Once we've selected group settings, we're actually going to work down this list to make sure that everything is set up properly. Okay. Now, with that being said, we want to actually go through each section. So you can see here, each of these are individual sections, right? They're broken up into squares, and you can see there's different sections here. There's customized group, there's manage memberships, there's manage discussion. So we're going to go down step by step, section by section, and we're going to make sure that these settings are set up properly. Okay, so let's do this right off the get-go. So underneath here where it says new member intro, we want to make sure that it's off. New member intro is off. The next thing we're going to get into is privacy. Privacy, we want to make sure that it's set to private. Then hide group, we want to make sure that it's set to visible. Now, location is optional. We do recommend leaving it as it is and not adding anything into it. Now, if you were having a local group, you can actually create a local group, which will be local to like Minnesota, or I'm in Dallas, so it'd be local to Dallas. Now, the next section we're going to jump into is the customize group section. So let's jump into this. So the first thing we're going to do is the web address. So as you can see here, this is facebook.com/groups1234, all of these numbers that it's giving you. This is going to be your Facebook group link. And so this is what we want to actually edit and actually make sure that we can put the name of your community. So if we come here, right, what it's going to do is it's going to give you this link. And what you're doing is you're just putting everything that comes after the slash, okay? And the best way to do this, as if you can see here into the guide, you want to actually just put the name of your community or the name of your business. Now, if I was doing this for RWA, okay, so let's make sure that we circle this so you know. So this is the web address. So if I was doing this for RWA, what I would do here is I would put Remote Wellness Academy. I can do that. Or I could call this RWA Community. Okay, that already seems to exist. Or I could do Remote Wellness Academy. See that? So you can name this. Ideally, you want to name it the name of your community. The name of your group is what you want to actually name your web address. So for this sake, I'm just going to call it Remote Wellness Academy. Okay, real straightforward, real simple. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and that's going to become my new link. So as you can see here, this is my new web address for my community. So if I was actually able to take this link and I post it on a browser, you'll actually see that this will actually take me into the community directly. Okay, once you've actually set up your web address, the next thing we're going to go into is the group color of your community. So the way you do that is you're going to go ahead, select this white icon right there, this white circle, and you can go ahead and select the color that you like. For this example, I'm going to select red, and that's going to be the color for, or they give you accent colors now, and that's going to be the color for the community. I'm going to save it, and then as you can see, the buttons turn red and all of that stuff. So you can really have fun with what colors do you select for your community. As you can see here, that this turns red and these turn accent colors. So you can customize it, have fun with it, figure out what works best for you and for your brand. And if you do not have brand colors or like colors for your business, just go ahead and pick the colors that just feel the most right to you. Now, with that being said, the next thing we're going to go into is badges. We actually want to leave the default setting, okay? We don't want to actually touch anything as far as badges, but I will show you what this is. So this is like creating badges for people that are here, letting people know that who's admin, who's moderator, who's a new member, all that stuff. We usually just leave these on. We don't really care too much about them. And then the last thing is group affiliates, okay? Underneath group affiliates, we want to actually leave as is. Okay, so the setting that we want is no affiliation, okay? That's what we want to leave as is. Now, let's move on to the next section, which is manage memberships. That is going to be this section right here. So in the manage membership section, who can join the group? We only want profiles. Okay, so you can go ahead and leave the setting. If the setting is not here, you can go ahead and select the pencil icon, and you can either select profile and pages or only profiles. You want to make sure that it says only profiles. Now, the next thing is anyone who can join groups, right? Actually, who can approve member request. Here it says anyone in the group. We do not want that. We want you to have complete access to who you allow. And we want to change that to only admins and moderators. And then you're going to hit save. Okay, so this should say who can approve member requests, only admins and moderators. You can see it right here. This is a very crucial step to make sure that it is set up right. Okay, who is pre-approved to join? That's the next one right here. Who is pre-approved to join? Nobody. Nobody's pre-approved to join. Everybody has to be approved by an admin or moderator. So that is that setting. We've got manage membership set up there. Now let's go into manage discussion, which is the next section that we're going to be working with. And I'm going to keep these aligned so you guys can actually see very easily. Now let's work through this. Who can post? Anyone in the group. So yes, we want to allow anyone in the group to post. Now the second section, this section right here, it's very, very, very important. And we want to make sure that we are setting this up correctly. Okay, so approve all member post. Okay, we want this to be on. It'll naturally be at off. We want to turn it on and then hit save. Why do we want to turn it on? Because this is very, very, very important. We don't want some random person coming in and posting stuff. So it's easier to just approve what people are posting rather than just letting everybody comment inside of the community. So the next thing we're going to get into is sort comments, right? How do we do that? We're just going to hit the pencil icon and we're going to change it to most recent. And what's going to happen is it's going to start circulating the things that you're posting most recently. Okay. And then after that, you go into sort post right here. Okay. Sort post, and sort post is going to be based off of most relevant. So that's already set. So we don't have to change anything with that. Next thing we're going to get into is default tab. Okay. Default tab. We are going to have discussions. So it's already set up here. And if you hit the pencil icon, you want to make sure that it's a discussion. So we are good to go. And then edit post formats. You can actually come in here and now you can actually select what type of post formats that you will allow inside of your community. The one thing that we actually do is we disable create events. So we don't want anybody creating events that is not an admin. Otherwise, what will happen is that people will come in here and they will actually create events, and we don't want that to happen as well. Okay. And you can create what type of content that you want to allow. But the beautiful thing is that because you have approve all member post on, it allows you to pick and choose what you actually allow. Last but not least, right here, anonymous posting. Okay. Anonymous posting, we actually want that to be off because we actually want to know who is posting this, because if somebody posts something where they need help, you want to make sure that this is turned off so that you can know how you can reach out and how you can actually support them. Okay. So go to the pencil icon, make sure that it's off and hit save. Now let's move on to the next section, which is the added to group. So let's go in here. Now, we typically usually will leave these settings on unless someone starts using them and actually starts causing problems, right? We actually recommend having guides on. So let's make sure that we actually go in here and you can actually come in, add new feature. And we can actually, inside of new feature, if you scroll down, there are other features, okay? So once you hit add new feature, it will take you to other features, okay? Once you're in other features, the next thing that we want to do is we want to hit guide. You'll see the guide right here. Let me just show you exactly where that is, okay? Here's the guide, and then we're going to hit add, okay? So I'm going to do that with you right now. We're going to hit add, and guides have been added, okay? Boom, and that is the add feature to the group. Now, because this is what's going to allow us inside of our community, we can have this section called guides, and this is where you can actually organize all of your Facebook Lives and weekly coaching calls, and we'll show you how to actually do that as well. Then you want to go back into group settings, because of what's going to do, it's actually going to kick you out of that. Right underneath that, okay, once you've added new, you'll probably want to exit out of there. So once you add new, okay, what it'll do, it'll probably kick you out of these settings. So once you've actually added guides on, right, you can just click anywhere inside of the community. I would hit community home, then go back over to group settings right here. Okay. Go back to group settings. Then you scroll all the way down, and this is the last one that we're going to do, which is manage advanced settings. Now, here it says linked pages. We do not want to link a page. Do not link a page. Recommended groups, that is something that Facebook has changed recently, so that is no longer in there. And then last but not least, apps. The way we do this, you want to hit the pencil icon. You want to hit add apps. And the one app that we like to find is go ahead and search for Zoom. And then you can actually go ahead and select Zoom, and you can select add, and Zoom is ready to go. Now, the reason we do Zoom, it's because we want to utilize Zoom when you're doing your weekly live streams. You can use Zoom, you can go on Zoom, and then you can stream it live inside of your community. And so that is the entire community setup step by step. So if you went through this, you should have your community ready to rock and roll. Make sure to follow the step-by-step instructions of how to set up your community properly. That was the mini training on how to get this rocking and rolling. Now back to the main training. All right, team, welcome back from that mini training. And now you should have your Facebook group set up. You should have all the settings set up and ready to go to make sure that it is ready for the next step, which is going to be setting up the community description. So let's jump in and make sure that we can walk you through the steps of setting up your description. So part one of setting up your description, very straightforward, is we want to answer these 3 questions. That'll allow us to actually get a little bit more clarity, and it'll allow us to have things that we can utilize to plug into the resources that we have provided to you guys. So the first question that we want to answer is, who is your community for? Now, this all comes back down to the 4 P's: people, pain, process, paradise. It all comes back to the 4P, and that's what you're going to be able to utilize to plug into this. So if you do not have your messaging swipe file, if you do not have an area where your messaging is your SPICE framework and your messaging is dialed in, then it's going to be very, very, very difficult for you to plug all this in together. So being organized is going to be a very important skill set that you need to have as a winner, so you can take a lot of those resources and actually plug them and make sure that you are set up and ready to go. So first question, like I said, who is your community for? And this is going to be all around people. Now, what is your community about? And this is where you can utilize a lot of the pain. Another thing that you can utilize a lot of is the paradise. Very straightforward. You can use the pain and the paradise in this section right here. Last but not least, how do you join the community? Very straightforward. So we want to give clear instructions to people on how to join the community. So once you've answered these 3 questions, the next thing we're going to move into is putting it all together. Once you've answered these, we want you to use the examples below as inspiration. Again, I want to remind you, do not be a remote control student. Use them as inspiration to come up with your own community description. And so use these as frameworks that you can plug into and come up with your own variation. So let's go over example number 1. Example number 1 is very straightforward. You can see here we've actually placed areas where you can put your community name. Okay, this is the name of your community, which you should already have set up, who you want to help, and the paradise points of the people that you're trying to help. Now, this community is brought to you by, this is going to be your name and the name of your practice that you can put right there. And the name of your community is dedicated to allowing you to insert the pain points or the paradise points that people are trying to achieve. The people that you have that you're trying to help are trying to achieve. Okay. And you're sharing a little bit about what is going to be happening, what kind of content and stuff that you're going to be sharing and value you're going to be sharing, right? A few housekeeping rules, very straightforward. And then just letting them know that they'll be able to actually speak with somebody so they can actually get resources and the support that they need based on what it is that they need help with. And then you sign it off. So this is a very basic setup of your community description. So where are people going to see this? This is something that I want to clarify for everyone. People are going to see this description before they join the community. So the community is going to require them to click the join the community button, and they're going to fill out your qualification questions, which we're going to get to later in this training, but they're going to be able to read this description prior to joining the community. So that's example number one. Here's example number two. Welcome to the NutriFit Wellness Facebook community. This community is specifically for career professionals. You see here, I'm clarifying who this is for and what it is that we're going to help them with. And then you can see here, health first process, which is our framework. So we took the framework and we added that in there. Now, if it's not you, it's supposed to say, if that's not you, okay, if you're not a career professional, this community is not for you. But if that is you, this might be one of the most valuable communities you'll ever be a part of. Now, when joining the community, you'll get access to this. What are they going to get access to? To get the most out of this group, don't be shy and contribute to the conversation. And then you'll be able to speak with the team of one of our coaches and advisors who can send you to specific trainings and resources based on what you need help with. See you inside. Okay, so this is another variation of an example of a template that you can actually utilize as a resource. So the next thing and the final thing that we want to do that is left, once you've designed your community description, this is after you've designed your community description, we're going to actually switch over to a mini training where we're going to walk you through how to actually paste your community description inside of your Facebook group that you have actually created. So we're going to switch over to that mini training and we're going to make sure we help you set that up now. All right, team, welcome to this mini training where we're going to walk you through how to set up your community description, how to take your community description copy and actually paste it in the settings of your Facebook group. So at this time, you should have already created your Facebook group. So make sure you actually go inside of your Facebook group, and this is your community. Then inside of your community, you're going to head over to group settings. Okay, in the corner here, you'll see that there is the icon called group settings. So you're going to select group settings here. Okay. Once you've selected group settings, up top right here where it says set up group, you will see where it says name and description. Okay. Name and description. You're going to select the pencil icon. Then right here, you'll see an area that says description. Tell people what your group's about. Okay. Real straightforward. What we're going to do is for this example, I'm going to copy example number 2. And wherever your copy is, you should have already posted the copy. And if you're using ClickUp or any other document, I'm going to copy where, if you have it in a Google Doc, this will be easy for you to do as well. Okay. I copied it. I'm going to show you guys another example. I'm going to paste it in here, and that is the description. Now, sometimes it'll be all jumbled up, guys. So what you could do is you can hit Shift Enter, hold down your Shift button and hit Enter, and you can space it accordingly. But usually spaces transfer pretty well. And once you've taken your copy, you can paste it in here, and then you can go ahead and hit Save, and boom. Your description is ready to go. Now, if you want to confirm to make sure that your description is set up correctly, you can just hit the pencil icon. That means your description is set up properly and you don't have to hit save or anything. So you are good to go. Now, that was the step-by-step mini training on how to add your community description copy to your Facebook group. And now we will return back to the main training. All right, team, welcome back from that quick mini training where we walked you through how to set up your community description. So by now, you should have set up your community description inside of your Facebook group. It should be ready to go. Now, do not worry. It's not a finalized thing. You can always go back and change it and make edits to it if needed. So moving along, the next thing that we're going to go into is we're going to talk about how to set up your community cover photo. So in just a second, we're going to switch over to a quick mini training where we're going to walk you through 2 things. Step number 1, we're actually going to go ahead and pick and use the Canva template that we're going to provide you here. And then number 2, we're going to actually help you upload the cover photo to your Facebook group as well. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's switch over to this quick mini training that's going to walk you through how to do it. So let's switch over to the mini training now. Welcome to this quick mini training where we're going to be going over how to design your community cover photo. Okay. Then we're actually going to go through how to upload your community cover photo inside of your Facebook group as well. Okay. So let's jump into it and actually start taking massive amounts of action. So the first step we're going to go through is actually we're going to go ahead and pick and use the Canva templates that we have provided. A quick reminder for every single one of you guys, use this as inspiration and as a source of creativity. Now you can get creative with this and we want you to get creative with this, okay? Create your own style, your design, how you like it, and we'll be walking you through the best practices of how that works, okay? So the first thing you wanna do is you wanna go ahead and hit this link right here where it says here, and it's gonna take you into this page right here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and hit this purple button, okay? And that's going to allow you to have the templates that we have created. So let's go ahead and hit that purple button. Let's get into it now. So just to show you, we have a few templates in here that you can utilize, that you can edit, that you can draw creativity from. I also recommend going on Facebook and actually taking a look at other people's groups and other people's Facebook group cover photos so you can actually get ideas on how it's designed and how you can actually design your own. So again, going back to this, go ahead and you can actually go ahead and click this purple button. And what it's going to do is it's going to actually open this up into an editable version that you can select, okay? So we've got a few templates in here that you can go ahead and actually edit. So there's actually 3 elements that go into making your cover photo, okay? So the 3 elements that are gonna go into this is gonna be the name of your brand, okay? Then it's gonna be what the community is about, okay? And then last but not least, who the community is for, okay? So let's actually get into it. So the Apex system, let's say for instance, this is the name of your remote wellness practice, or it could also be the name of your unique mechanism, okay? Let's say for instance. Now, for the sake of simplicity, let's keep it the name of your remote wellness practice, okay? Then we get into who is it for, okay? This is a free community for men, okay? You can see here, who is it for, who want to, and then what is it about? That they want to dominate their wealth, health, and impact. Okay, see how easy that is? And then after that, there's a quick button that points to join this group. You're telling people exactly what they need to do. Okay, so let's look at this one as an example. You're going to put your logo right here, and this says join the nation's only free 21-day transformation. Okay, so this might be an offer that is around a free 21-day transformation program. Maybe your guide is the free 21-day transformation program that you're giving. Okay, and this is for, again, who is this for? For women who want to feel healthier, energetic, and confident, right? Really straightforward. And then join this group to claim your free spot below. See that? So there's always a call to action, right? I'm going to put it right here. There's a CTA to the name of your community and the name of your Facebook group cover photo. Okay, so those are the first 2 examples. And then as you can see here, right, there's your organization name, which is going to be your remote wellness practice name that you're going to have in here, right? Free fat loss, accountability, and nutrition community. There's some elements of the name of your community in all of these aspects. And then there's a call to action, which is join your free group, right? If you want to learn how to lose fat and get healthy without wasting your time, energy, or money. Now, this one is a little bit more vanilla. This is really plain. This is if you're helping men and women. But if you've identified who your people are, you can use this as a template and actually have join our free Facebook group for men, for women, for independent mothers. You can have those elements inside of your Facebook group cover photo. Okay. Now moving along into this next example. Hey, are you tired of not knowing what to do to get the health results you want? Join us to start your journey to your best self with sustainable lifestyle changes. So this isn't really about who, right? Or what, but you can use this as an example and kind of mold it to what you need. And then here's a generic example that you can utilize as well. So the biggest things that you guys want to look out for is you want to make sure that it has the name of your brand, who it's for, who you're targeting, your people, what you're helping them with, okay? And that is going to equal to a really good Facebook group cover photo. Okay. So you can actually have elements of your Facebook group name, your community name, inside of the cover photo, and that's going to be very beneficial as well. So to keep it real simple, guys, add the name of your brand or the name of your community in the cover photo, and then make sure that it has who the community is for and what the community is all about. And so this one is a very clear, very straightforward example, right? This we selected to use a unique mechanism. Okay, the Apex system is a unique mechanism, but it's a free community for men who want to dominate their wealth, health, and impact. Now for this would be the name of the Facebook group as well, because this is the name of somebody's remote wellness practice. So what they did was they took their unique mechanism and actually made it the name of their practice. It's very rare to see that. Usually you'll have a different name, right? And then they could have like the Apex Academy, and then they have the Apex system, which is their unique mechanisms. So that goes over step one, which is pick and use the Canva template. So get creative. Do not just bread and butter, cold turkey, just copy this, right? Get creative, add your own elements to it, change the background. So get creative with this, type in the things that you want, change the background, change the wording, change the font, make it your own, and make sure that it has some sort of element of a call to action to join the group. Once you've done that, then the next thing that we want to do is we actually want to export this, and we actually want to download this and actually upload it to the Facebook group. So what you're going to do is you're going to go over here to where it says share. Okay, so this little button that says share right here. So you're going to click on that. Okay, once you've clicked on share, you're going to go ahead and hit download. Once you've hit download, you're going to make sure that you go over to all pages, and then you select the page that you want to download. So I'm going to download page number 2, right? We want to unselect actually all of this. We want to unselect all the top right here, and then we're going to select page 2. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and download this. So this is going to download. It's going to pop up and give me an option of where I want this to go. So I'm going to actually put this into my downloads. And once it's downloaded, boom, I'm going to actually save it to my downloads right here. I'm going to save it there. Now let's head over to the Facebook group and actually set this up inside of the Facebook group. So now we're inside of the Facebook group. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and select edit right here. Okay, so there's a little pencil icon that says edit. Then you're going to select that. Once you select it, the next thing you're going to select is actually upload the photo. Okay, so you're going to select upload photo because that is what we are doing. So we're going to select upload photo. Okay, then you're going to select wherever you save the Facebook group cover. Okay, we're going to go ahead and select it. And then from there, as you can see, all I have to do now is I have to drag to reposition it. So if you're like, okay, I got to drag this. If you don't like the way the size is, you're like, hey, I can't see all the elements that I want in there. You can actually go back, make some edits to it. So if you're like, hey, this is too small, this is too big, you can actually change the size of these things, bring these things closer, bring these things farther, whatever it needs, you can actually format it to however you want it to go. And then you're going to go ahead and hit save changes, and voila. Now we have our Facebook group cover change, and now we are good to go. So that, ladies and gentlemen, went over how to set up your community photo, which was step number 1, picking and using one of the Canva templates as inspiration. Okay, become creative, become resourceful. And then number 2, how we actually went ahead and uploaded the cover photo into the Facebook group. So I hope you found that walkthrough mini training helpful. If you have any questions, please go ahead and let us know. And now we'll return back to the main training. All right, team, welcome back from that quick mini training. So by now, you should have your Canva template already picked out, edited, and already put on your Facebook group. So that way your version 1.0 community is actually ready to go. So I'm super excited. I'm super proud of you for getting this done. So let's continue chugging along and making this happen. Okay. Now, just as a reminder, because humans need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. Okay. So I've got a question for you. Are the examples that we went over, are they the only examples that you should follow? I want you to say it with me. No. great job. I just want to let you know, I knew you weren't one of those students that wants to be remote controlled and spoon fed for the rest of your life. You don't want to follow blindly. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for setting such a great example for all the other students to understand that what we went over are just prompts, guides, and examples. You will need to tap into your resourcefulness, but not only resourcefulness, you're going to need to tap into your creativity as well to apply this to your situation, your market, your people, their pain that they're following, because this is specific to you, okay? And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why you are a winner. That is why you're a winner and you're not a limbic lalu, is because you are being resourceful and being creative and making it happen for yourself. And one quick reminder that I want to remind you is that do not major in the minors. This community cover photo, this community name, this community description is all a placeholder. You can change this at any time, and you will change this throughout your journey as you're refining your spice messaging, okay? So let's just get ahead and make sure that we get your version 1.0 community going. We get it up and running so you can start getting some clients, and you can always go back and change it as you grow. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, that was the section of community setup. If you have any questions about the section or anything that we discussed, make sure that you go ahead and ask in the student community using the comments below. That concludes our section, and we'll catch you guys in the next section. All right, team, welcome back to this section. And in this section, we're going to be going into the qualification questions. Now, this is step 3 of your community setup. So step 1 was going over naming your community. Step 2 was getting your community actually set up on Facebook and getting the description rocking and rolling. And step number 3, which is this, we're going to go into the qualification questions. Okay. Now, what are the qualification questions? These are the gatekeepers of your community. Now, before anyone requests to join your community, they're going to be asked to answer a few questions. And this will help you determine whether you should allow people into the community or not. Now, the question I get often is, shouldn't I allow everybody because the more people that I have is actually better, right? That's actually not true. You actually want to filter and be selective about who you let into your community, because your ability to get clients is all based off of the quality of the person joining your community. Okay, because the goal should be to have less people in the community, but they are more engaged, and majority of them want to actually work with you and invest into your program. Now, we will go deeper into this in the training called Moderating Your Community, which is going to be inside of the community kickoff, where we'll talk about who to let into your community and why you should let specific people in and deny specific people. The next phases with this is we're going to go into designing your qualification questions. Now, with that being said, here is a simple framework, right? And this is a simple framework that we have found that works the best to design your qualification questions. So what we have found is keeping your questions simple and short and sweet and straight to the point makes it very, very, very easy for people to answer them, be compliant, and allows you to collect the data that you need so you can actually reach out to them and actually make sure that you know what their goals are and different things of that sort. Okay. So question number 1, we actually want to make sure that we can confirm the correct email address. Now, the reason we ask this is because we want to be able to search their contact in the client kit using their email. So if you ever wanted to reach out to them personally, we can grab their email, put it into the client kit, and actually send them a text message, which is really cool. And we'll talk to you more about this in the setter processes. Okay. Now, question number 2 is, are they a good fit? Right? That's the theme of this question, right? And we want to make sure that this is as easy to answer as possible. You can keep this really simple, and you're going to see an example of what it would look like to give them things to actually answer, right? Because most people don't want to think. So it's actually easier to give people answers to pick from, okay? Now, you can choose to make it multiple choice because that's an option that Facebook will give you. We've never tested it ourselves. We always make sure that people are able to actually fill in their answers. It makes people a little bit more conscious, and it allows you to actually get the right folks in, okay? What we have found is that when someone is forced to actually write, it slows down, it makes them deliberate, and they're actually conscious of knowing what they are doing. Otherwise, you'll get random people inside of the community that don't even know why they are actually joining, okay? And finally, number 3, we want to make sure that we turn on group rules, and that's something that they can actually accept and they can actually agree to, okay? So let's move on to showing you some examples of what that actually would look like, what the qualification questions will look like. So number 1, we always put this right here, must answer. Join request will be denied if none, right? We let people know straightforward that, hey, if you do not answer our questions, we will deny you, okay? So what email address did you use to register for the free 21-day transformation? Now, why are we using this free 21-day transformation? Is you can put the asset or whatever thing they actually opted in for. So if your Facebook ad is actually about free guide or free whatever that is that you're offering a free transformation program, whatever it is that you're offering, you want to make sure that you actually put it here. Otherwise, if you don't have that and you're just getting people inside of the community, what email address did you use to register for the community? Very straightforward. Here's an example number 2. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to release weight? Are you trying to burn inflammatory fat? Or are you trying to prioritize your health? Or all 3? Real straightforward. Remember, we're going back to this. We're telling people, okay? We're giving them the option to tell us exactly what they want to select. And then last but not least, we want to turn on group rules. So those are the 3 examples of questions that you should be asking inside of your community. Now, in this next section, we're going to be going into setting up your qualification questions. So we're going to switch over to a quick mini training where we're going to walk you through how to actually place your qualification questions inside of your Facebook group. So that way you are set up for success and they are set up properly. So let's switch over to that now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this quick mini training where we're going to walk you through how to set up your qualification questions inside of your community. So let's begin. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you actually go ahead and head over to Facebook and head over into your Facebook group, which is going to be your community. As you can see here, I have the RWA test that I created earlier with you guys in the community setup, which I will be using for the qualification question, okay? So step 1, what we're going to do is on the left-hand side, you will see that there is a section called membership questions. And that's what we're going to click to make sure that we can actually go into this membership questions area. Now, once you click that, it's going to just actually show you with this prompt, asking pending members up to 3 questions. When they request to join, only admins and moderators will see the answers. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and actually create add question. Then the easiest way to do this is I'm going to actually utilize the questions that we've created, the example ones right here. You should, I recommend, create these in a document so you can actually paste these very easily, okay? So I copied the first one. Remember, the first one always has must answer. Join request will be declined if none. What email address did you use to register for your free asset, for the community, whatever it may be? Once you've pasted the first question in there, you can go ahead and select where it says checkbox. Then you can actually select multiple choice or written answer. We select written answer and then we're going to hit save. That is question number 1. As you can see here, it is actually set up and ready to go. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back up here and we're going to hit create. Once we hit create, we're going to copy this second one, okay? And then we're actually going to paste it in here as well. What are you trying to do? And then we like to actually make this into written answer as well. You can actually do multiple choice. If you do multiple choice, you'll have to add options of multiple choice to it. So that's why it's just easier to do written answer. And then you hit save, and that's going to show up as question number 2. Now we're going to do the same thing again for the next question. You go up here, you hit create, and then, for this one, we actually want to turn on group rules. So we're just going to go exit. Okay. And it says group rules. You can actually hit more, learn more. So part 3 is we're going to turn on group rules. So how do you actually do that? So you'll see this button right here where it says group rules, learn more. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and select learn more. Now it's going to take you over to the group rules section, and you're just going to select get started. Okay. So once you select get started, you can write your own, or you can actually just have example ones here. So it's just be courteous. Okay. You can actually hit create. Then you could hit create again. And then you can go, you had to create, be courteous, no hate speech or bullying. Hit create. And then you could go ahead and go no spam or promotions. Hit create. You could just hit create again, and then respect everyone's privacy. Hit create. So these are the simple basic rules that we have. If you have any specific rules that are specific to your Spice messaging that you want to add in here, you can add the title to your rule and a description to the rule that you have. You can mess around with that if you want. We just keep it simple, and we just have the regular rules that are on there. So it's taking you to group rules. So to get back into membership questions, you're just going to switch over here. Now, once you go back into the membership rules, it asks you to actually create membership rules. Now you're actually just going to come back and actually turn this toggle on. Okay. And what this is going to allow you to do, and this is going to allow you to, when people are actually joining the community, they're going to be required to actually select I agree to the group rules. Then we are all set up. So we are all set up with your qualification questions. And just a reminder, guys, you can always go back and edit these. So they are editable. So you can go back and edit these questions at any time. You can keep editing them. If you want to make changes, you just hit edit. And this is how you actually set up your qualification questions inside of your community, inside of the Facebook group. So the way you do that is once you're inside of the Facebook group, really quickly, just a quick recap, you're going to go over to membership questions, and that is where you can hit create and create membership questions. You can only create 3. That is what Facebook allows. So we keep it to a maximum of 2, and then we ask people to agree to the group rules, and that will allow you to get everything set up. So that was the mini training on how to set up your qualification questions. Now we will go back to the main training. All right, team. So welcome back from that mini training where you were setting up your qualification questions. By now, you should have your qualifications questions set up and ready to go. I do want to remind you, please, please, please do not major in the minors. Okay. These are just placeholders. You can change this at any time. Just get your version 1.0 going of your community, get everything up and running. And once you're getting into the flow of things, you can always go back and make these better. Now, once you've set up your community questions, it should look something like this, okay? And so that, ladies and gentlemen, was the qualifications section. It was short, it was sweet, it was super to the point, it was tactical. If you have any questions about this section or anything that we discussed in this section, make sure to ask in the student community. You can do that by commenting in these sections below. If you want us to review your qualification questions, or if there's any clarity that you need on the qualification questions, do not hesitate to post them in the comments below. And that was step number 3, which was the qualification questions. And we will catch you guys in the next section. All right, team, welcome back to step number 4. And in this section, we're going to be going into the welcome post for your community. So I'm super excited. Let's jump in and make this happen. Okay. So step number 4 is going to be all about your welcome post. What is your welcome post? Now, your welcome post is going to be the first experience that they have once they get inside of the community. And the welcome post also allows them to see the context of what the community is about and what they can actually expect. And what it does is one thing that we have found, it actually streamlines the relationship building process between you and your community. The welcome post will be one of your evergreen posts. It's going to be one time that you do it, and it's always going to come in handy over and over and over again. It's going to be one of those things that you're going to be using every single day, and we'll, in the later sections, show you and teach you how to use it. And what it does, it allows you to create a culture of engagement, because the culture that you create inside of the community is what is going to foster and create and continue to grow. Okay. Now, there's a concept called initial conditions, which means when something is being created or started, the environment or the state in which it's being created will determine the trajectory. So one of the initial conditions of the community will be the welcome post. And this is where you'll tag. That's right. Every time a new member comes in, every single day, you will tag them, all new members daily. And this is going to start the process of them engaging with your community right away. Okay. Now, this is going to be the first thing that they do. And because this is the first thing that they do, they're going to be more likely to engage and comment on your later posts and value and the things that you provide in your weekly live streams, which will then lead to them scheduling a call, because if they're engaged, that means they're consuming the value that you are providing. They're drinking your Kool-Aid. What this does, this allows people to assimilate and easily become a part of your tribe, because all of us as humans want to feel like we belong to something. And so this is going to be very, very, very key. And this is going to come in handy as you continue to grow your community and as you continue to provide value within your community. Okay. So the next thing that we want to go into is there's a few parts into creating your welcome post. So part one is going to be all around creating the welcome post copy. Now, what is the welcome post copy? Now, the welcome post copy is going to be the thing, the type up that's going to be on top of your welcome post. Okay. So if you have an image right here, if this is your welcome post, this is going to be the type up that is going to be on top of your welcome post. Now, the step one of this is to understand the framework, okay, of designing your welcome post. So there's a few things that go into it. Number one, there's going to be a welcome. Number two, we're going to go into who is this community for and what is this about. As you can see, this is a reoccurring theme, because human beings, you know this, need to be reminded more than they need to be taught. You'll be surprised that some people will come in, they'll see an ad, they'll give you their information, and then all of a sudden they're like, what is this community for? And so that's why we are reiterating it over and over and over again. In the name, we are doing it in the description, we are doing it in the qualification questions, and we're doing it in the welcome post again. Then you're going to get into a little bit about me, which is a little bit about you. Then step one, how to get them to introduce themselves. That's going to be step one. Step two is what do they need help with to actually start creating some engagement. Step three, which is adding you on Facebook as a friend. Now, this is optional, but this will allow you to actually engage and connect with people. Now, this can be something that you can do later once you have your asset created, and we can go back and add this, and we'll show you how to do that, which is going to be add your asset to the welcome post. And step five, if you wanted to get a little bit more ninja later down the line, you can actually put a calendar link or request to a free consult in there where people can actually say that, hey, I'm ready to actually schedule a call, and then you're going to have the closeout. So those are the sections or the framework that you should follow to creating your welcome post. Okay, the best practices to creating your welcome post. Again, do not be a remote control spoon-fed student. Please, please, please take this as a framework and add your own spice to this to make it better. So I'm going to share the examples with you. That way you have a clear understanding of what that actually will look like. So here's an example of what that would look like from NutriFit Wellness. So it starts with, going back to what we were talking about, it starts with the welcome. Who is this community for? And then we really just give people instructions. We want to tell people exactly what to do. You will actually be very, very, very surprised that most people, and this is a thing that you'll learn in marketing, most people need to be told exactly what it is that they need to be doing. And then you got to tell them, we specialize in helping people, and insert the problem that your people face. Okay? Then talk a little bit about you, right? That's the next step. A little about me. My team and I have been in the industry for X amount of time, and you've helped X amount of people. And you could say something like this, or you can come up with your story and share a little bit about that. You don't want to go too overboard. You want to keep this simple, probably 1 to 2 sentences, nothing crazy. Okay? Then we go into step number 1. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Step number 2, tell us what you need help with. And then continuing on, right, we go into, hey, step number 3, add your name on Facebook. Again, this, I'm letting you know, is optional. This is optional. You don't have to do this if you do not want to, but this will allow you to connect with your community members easier. And then you can add the additional steps later down the line as you create your asset and different things. You can have step 4 here. You can have step 5. You can have step 6. You can have as many steps as you want, which is kind of cool. And then last but not least, we actually want to go ahead and close it out, which is a very simple, hey, welcome to the community. We're super pumped to serve you. Chat soon, your name, company name, so that way they can resonate with it. So that's a very quick example template. Here's another example of a live one. You can see that it is customized. Some of you might not want to add people communicating or telling us where they're actually from. You want to actually just know what is actually going on right away. And as you can see here, that there is a free asset that one of the students have that they're adding there in there, and then adding them on Facebook as well. So that is an example of what a welcome post is going to look like and what welcome post copy is going to look like as well. Okay. And so step 2 right here, you can see that we've created a template for you that you can actually go through and actually write all of these things up in specific sections, which will make it easier for you. And then you can actually take that and create it specifically on your own. So very easily, you're going to go into the welcome of your community. Then you're going to go into who this community is for, a little bit about me. And this allows you to kind of separate things up, right? You're going to go into step number 1. Then you're going to go into step number 2. Now, again, friendly reminder, right? Always, human needs to be reminded more than we need to be taught, is that you will need to customize this for your community specifically. Then you can add additional steps if you want to, and then you're actually going to go ahead and close it out. Okay. So the next part is once you've actually created your community copy, then you're going to actually create your welcome post image. So that's going to be part 2 of your welcome post. Now, if you did not know this, Facebook is a platform that rewards engagement. So the more engagement that you have on a post, then it will show it to more people. Because the more engaging something is, it's actually going to keep people on the platform longer. So Facebook's whole goal is to keep people utilizing the platform longer. So the longer someone is on the platform, the more ads they will consume. Now, this post will get comments on it daily, so it'll be the most revolving post inside of your community. Now, when you post your welcome post, we have found that posting an image with it is a must, okay? Because what that does, it makes the post pop out more and it is more visible and it's more appealing to the eye. And because you're commenting on it daily, it's welcoming new members inside of the community. It's going to get seen the most. So you want to make sure that it's visually interactive. Now, in typical RWA fashion, over delivery Batman, we've gone ahead and provided you with an exact template that you can customize for your community. So that's the next thing I want to walk you through is going to be a short mini training on how to create your welcome post image step by step inside of Canva, showing you an example of what a welcome post image should look like. That way you can customize it for your community. So let's jump into that now. All right, team, welcome to this quick mini training on how to create a welcome post image. Okay, so this is going to be a part of your welcome post. Now, you should have already written the copy, and this is going to be the next steps that go along with it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to click this link right here, and this is going to actually open up into another browser, which is going to be a Canva template that we have provided to you guys right here. Now, the first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead, and there's a button right here. It's a purple button, and we want to select Use Template. Okay, we want to select Use Template. So if we select Use Template, it's going to require you to actually log into Canva. You should already have an account. Okay, once you log into Canva, what you can do is you can actually add your logo to one side. You can add your image to one side. You could get creative with it. If you have your image for both, you can just have one image. You can actually be creative inside of Canva and edit it how you want it. Okay. Now, as you can see here, here's an example of a welcome post image. So you can see here, one of the coaches has added their image, right? Their profile picture. Now, this picture can be taken from an iPhone. It's very simple. It's just a portrait mode picture. And then she has added her logo and her company emblem in there as well. And she's kept it really simple. So you can see here, she's actually said, welcome to EM Wellness, which is her name of her remote wellness practice. And then you can start here to get access to the transformation program. So all of this is editable inside of Canva. Use your spice, get creative. This is just a template that we are providing for you. So get creative with this, make the changes that you need to make. And remember, we gave you a template, but now you need to add your own spice and make it your own. So this mini training covers how to create your welcome post image. Once you've created your welcome post image, guys, you can go ahead and actually export the template and save it, and then you'll be able to upload it on to your Facebook community. And then once you've made the necessary edits inside of your welcome post image inside of Canva and you've made the edits, then you can actually go ahead and export the image and actually save it so you can actually post it on Facebook later. So that was the mini training on how to create your welcome post image. So get in there, get creative, add your spice to it, and we'll return back to the main training. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from that mini training. So you should have your welcome post image created and ready to go. And I hope the template is customized. And I can't wait to see the welcome post images that you actually came up with and how you customized it. So you should have followed the step and you should have been able to access the template that is here inside of the mini training, and you should be all set up and ready to go. So let's move on to part number 3, which is going to be another mini training on how to actually post your welcome post inside of your community. Okay. So by now you should have your welcome post, right? You should have the copy, you should have the image. Now let's get this thing launched inside of your community. So in this short mini training, we're going to show you how to actually take your copy, take your image, and actually make a post inside of your Facebook group, inside of your community, so you can utilize this welcome post and you're ready to rock and roll. So let's jump into that mini training now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this mini training where we're going to walk you through how to post your welcome post inside of your community step by step. So let's jump into this and let's get rock and rolling and have some fun. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to open up your community. You can see here I have the RWA test community that we've been rolling with since we've done the community setup. Okay. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and right here where it says write something, we're going to actually select that. Now, this is where you can go in here and actually paste your community copy that you created. So you should have already created your community copy from your welcome post. So I'm just going to copy one that I actually have, right, as the example that we had inside of the training. And so the first thing you're going to do, you're going to copy all of that. It helps to not write it in here. It helps to actually have it created and organized, because once you are organized, you will be able to do this much, much, much faster. So the more organized you are, if you're using ClickUp, if you're using Google Doc, whatever it is that you're using, it's going to be very helpful once you can just copy and paste stuff into here. Okay. So I'm just going to paste this I've copied this from Google Doc, which was the NutriFit community example. I've pasted it in here. Once you pasted it in here, it should format if you format it correctly. If you need to format it for whatever reason, if it like shows up like this, all bundled up, what you can do is you can hit Shift and you can hit Enter. If you hit Shift Enter, it will give you the spacing that you need. If you just hit Enter, okay, if you just hit Enter, so you want to hit Shift Enter, okay? Whoa, that was a bad enter. If you don't hit Shift Enter, what's going to happen is that it's just going to post the post here. So you want to make sure that you actually hit Shift Enter. Now, once you've actually pasted the copy, the next thing that you're going to do is actually add the image. So you're going to go over here where it says photo and video. It's going to pop up this great icon here. Then you're going to hit add photo and video. You're going to scroll through. So I'm going to use this one as an example, which is the screenshot of the welcome post image. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and just hit post. And in just a few seconds, ladies and gentlemen, once you've added your image, once you've added your welcome post, you are good to go. Now, just a quick reminder, one thing that I do want to make sure that I can actually show you guys, as you guys are actually doing this, okay, if you want to add your Facebook profile in here, what you're going to do is you're just going to come over here and you're going to hit add. And what you're going to do is you're going to hit at your name. So if my name is Mohammed Malik, I'm just going to tag myself here, and then you can tag your profile again right here where it says, you can just hit at your name and you hit enter, and it's going to show up like this. That means it's going to show up as a tag. Okay. And so that is how you actually add tags on Facebook. You won't be able to add a tag inside of Google Doc. You will have to add it once you're inside of the Facebook post. Okay, so you just hit at your name and it will find you, and then you just select that and that will be your tag. And then once I hit save, it will actually go back and save that. So if I hit here, it'll actually take me to my profile. Then from there, if for whatever reason, if you mess up, you're like, hey, I need to format this, I can't get to this. Best way to do this is hit these three dots. Okay, just want to make sure that you can see this. Hit these three dots over here. Then what you're going to do is hit these three dots. You can always go edit post, and you can edit the post at any time. So you see here, this is all bundled up. I want to make it a little bit spacious. We're going to hit Shift Enter, Shift Enter. I can come over here, Shift Enter. What we have found, guys, is more white spaces allow people to read things a little bit better rather than things being bundled up. Also, one thing that could happen as you're pasting this is that it goes bold, okay? Do not post it bold. Just hit Command B or unbold. That way it doesn't show up as bold, okay? You want to make sure that we are posting it like a normal post. Once you're done with that, you can always go back and edit. You can always go back and make the changes that you need. You hit save, and that is how you post your welcome post inside of your community. So that was the mini training that covers that. Now we will return back to the main training. All right, team, welcome back from that mini training. So by now you should have your welcome post inside of your community ready to rock and roll. You have no idea how excited I am to see all of the welcome posts and all of the images that you guys have created and put your creativity into it. So with that being said, this concludes step number 4, which is designing your welcome post, where we talked about copy, we talked about setting up the welcome post image and actually posting it inside of the Facebook group, inside of your community. So if you have any questions about this section or anything that we discussed, you want to make sure to go ahead and ask it inside of the 100K Mastermind community. Go ahead and use the comments in the section below, and we will catch you guys on the next section. All right, team, welcome back into this section where we're going to be talking about cleaning up your Facebook profile. So let's actually start jumping into this and making this happen. So why do we actually clean our Facebook profile, and what does that actually mean? Now, imagine, I want a story time a little bit. Imagine being a practitioner and you had an office where you met your clients on a daily basis, okay? You had a practice, you had an in-person practice, and that's where you met. Now, question for you, To meet your clients, would you actually wear a tank top, shorts, or sandals to actually meet the clients? Like, do you think anyone would treat you like a professional if you were to actually show up like that? Now imagine, think about it the same way, but think about it from an online perspective. Think about if somebody came into your community, they added you as a friend after seeing the welcome post. Now, upon coming into your profile, they see a grainy profile picture of you at the bar, or on your feed, they see cat memes, they see Fox News articles, or your grandmother tagging you in pictures about fostering dogs. What is the first impression that that person is going to get? Are they going to think that you are a professional? Probably not, right? And so the first impression, guys, as you know, first impressions are everything. And this is the single reason that I see new students lose out on clients on a daily basis, is because someone who's going to pay you $1,200, $2,400, or even $3,600 to work with you, right? They want to work with a professional who has their stuff together. Now, because your profile will be the first thing that they interact with, we have to make sure that it is set up in a professional way. Now, how do we actually set up the profile in a professional way? Now, before I answer that and before we get into the nitty-gritty, I get a lot of this question and people are very hesitant about this. What if I don't want to use my Facebook profile? Now, the reason we use the Facebook profile, it actually allows you to connect with people easier and allows you to have human connection. So inside of your community, you're going to be posting value, you're going to be sharing content, you're going to be getting people to raise their hand. Now, once people raise their hand inside of the community, you've got to have a way to reach out to them, right? And the best way to actually reach out to them is using Messenger, Facebook Messenger, which we will teach you inside of the setup processes, so don't worry, okay? Now, I understand that there are some people that use their Facebook to connect with family. Now, this is perfectly fine. You can still connect with family and have a professional profile. But if you insist, you can always create another Facebook profile only specifically to connect with people from the community. Now, I have to warn you, this is difficult because Facebook has put a ban on having multiple profiles and they kind of track IP addresses and stuff like that. So it is a very difficult process. Now, this is a choice and I'm going to leave it up to you. But I am going to share my personal opinion about this, okay? And I say this again, guys, do not wear the failure uniform and don't let something small like this hold you back from getting clients and being successful. And a lot of the thoughts is, what is my family going to think? Or what do my friends say? You know, people will make fun of me, or students are going to come in and they're going to see my old pictures and things of that sort. They're going to see my political opinions and insert any excuse, insert literally any excuse here on why you don't want to use your personal Facebook profile. Now, trust me, I was there before, okay? My limbic brain gave me all of these thoughts, but at this point, you can either make a conscious choice to let your fear hold you back, or you can actually become a winner, right? Those are the really two choices that you have, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I just want to remind you that being an RWP, being a health coach, is actually part of your identity now. You went through this career change, you went through certification, so why not let it be known, right? What are you afraid of? Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you show up in your personal life, is very similar to how you show up in your personal life. There can't be a difference. And so the biggest thing is, whose opinion matters except for your own? And even then, our brain is creating negative scenarios to protect us. So biggest thing is, get conscious, face your fears head on. Like, we believe in you. I believe in you. The team believes in you. And we know you got this, okay? You are a winner. You have a winner's mindset. You are conscious and you can think cleanly, and you're all about action and solutions, and you will not allow your limbic thoughts and emotions to get into the way. So that's my personal thoughts. You can do what you like with your Facebook profile. That is completely up to you. Now, what is the tactical side of how do you actually clean up your Facebook profile? So what are all the elements that actually go inside of it? So right now we're going to jump into a short mini training where we're going to walk you through how to clean up your profile, how to make sure that you're not having cat memes and your grandmother tagging foster dogs on your profile showing up. And so we'll jump into that right now. All right, team, welcome to this mini training on how to clean up your Facebook profile. So let's jump in and start making this happen. So the first thing that we want to do is we actually want to go ahead and hide post images and tags from your feed that does not make you appear as professional. Okay. And so I'm going to show you how to actually do that. So the first thing that you want to do is as you're scrolling through your feed, there's a few ways that you can actually do this. You can actually do this individually. Okay. You can do this individually on your feed where you actually go here, you hit the 3 icons, and then you can actually go move to archive, or you can move to trash if you don't want it anymore. Easiest thing to do is move to archive. Okay. Once you move to archive, what that's going to happen is that post has moved to archive. No one can see it. Another way that you can do it is over here. You'll see this icon that says manage posts. Okay. That's another way that you can do it. So if you select manage post, it will actually show all of your posts in these icons. Now you can see here, there's a little 50, 0 out of 50 here. It will only allow you to select 50 posts at a time. Okay, so the way you do that is you can actually select all. Okay, it'll select all for the month. And then what you do is you hit next. And then what you do is you could either delete post or hide the post and then hit done. And you can go through month by month and actually just do that to all of the posts that you want to be able to eliminate. And that is going to be the easiest way to actually do it rather than actually scrolling through year after year after year. Okay, the best way to do that is you're going to come here where it says manage post. You hit that. Then you can actually select all. So you see here I've selected 15. So that'll actually let me do what I need to do. Then you hit next and you can either hide the post or delete the post. Okay, so that is the first step in hiding post, images, and tags that you do not want to appear on your profile. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the setting to control that who is able to post on your profile, because the last thing you need is you want random stuff and random people tagging you and stuff, and that's not what we want, right? So the thing that we're going to do is we are going to select these 3 buttons right here. Once you select the 3 buttons right here, we are going to then go into profile and tagging settings. Okay, that's going to take us to profile and tagging settings. Okay, so the best way to do it is you start with your profile at the top right here. And who can post on your profile? Now, this is up to you. I have it set to only me. Okay, I'm the only one that can actually post on my profile. But if you have family posting on your profile, that's completely up to you. So you can change these settings here by just selecting only me to friends on Facebook or whatever setting that you actually prefer. Okay, who can see what others post on your profile? Right? I only want only me. So you have all of these variety of options. So you select this, it'll give you a lot of these variety of options that people can select. If you don't want certain people seeing it, friends accept, don't show it to some friends, your friends on Facebook, friends of friends. So you can select who it is that you want to show it to. Hide comments containing certain words on your profile. So if you're like, hey, I don't want certain words to actually show up on my profile, you can actually paste those words right here. So if you want any words that you do not want to show up on your profile, that you can actually hinder it there as well. And then allow others to share your post to their stories. So if you want that on, you can toggle this on or off. That is completely up to you. So that is the profile setting. Now the next setting that we're going to go into is the tagging setting. And this is going to be the most important setting of all. Who can see posts that you're tagged in on your profile, right? I like to put this to only me because I want to be able to be the only person that sees if I'm getting tagged so I can actually approve it, because you don't know if somebody's tagging you in some random stuff, right? Because you don't want GoFundMe links showing up on you. When you're tagged in a post, who do you want to add to the audience of the post if they can't already see it? And that's just going to be friends, okay? So this is going to be once you approve a tagged post, who can actually see it. Now, this is also going to be really important right here, reviewing, okay? Review posts that you're tagging before they appear on your profile. You actually want to have this on. Highly, highly, highly recommend it because, again, you don't want GoFundMe links popping up on your profile left and right. And then review tags people add to your post before the tags appear on Facebook. So what you're doing is you're actually controlling the narrative of what people are seeing. And as a professional, it's very important so you can actually control what's happening on your profile because that's what you're going to be using to connect with your clients and potential clients that will be inside of your community. So the next thing that we want to get into is changing your profile image. Okay, so the way to do that is you can head over back into your profile. Okay, you can just select the top right there, head back over into your profile. And the way to change your profile picture, and this is your profile picture right here, guys. Make sure that it's professional. It's very easy to do if you have an iPhone, if you have a smartphone. Just go ahead and hit this camera icon, and it'll take you to update profile picture. And then you can upload a picture, you can add frames, and then you can go ahead and select the things that you want to add in there and whatever image that you want. It's very easy to do so. Just have a family member actually just take a very simple photo of you using portrait mode. Smartphones actually have a mode for taking very good photos. So I would highly recommend taking an afternoon, going outside and actually having a good photo taken of yourself. It doesn't take that long. You can have a stranger take it. You can have a family member take it. It's very, very, very useful and it'll come in handy without you having to get like professional headshots done. Okay. With that being said, let's move on to step number 4, which is going to be changing the cover photo. So you can go ahead and this is a Canva template that we've created for you to edit your cover photos. Now, what is your cover photo? So your cover photo is going to be up here above on top of your profile. And what this allows you to do is this allows you to have a little bit more real estate, right? When people from the community go onto your profile, they'll see something like this. Let's say you share a testimonial and you tag one of your clients and their friend sees it and they see your cover photo and that pushes them to join the community. So the cover photo is really going to have a call to action. Okay, like you see here, my cover photo has click here to access case study. Your cover photo will have click here to join the community. Okay, so if I select this link over here, what it's going to do, it's going to take you over into a few Canva templates that we have created for you all. So you can see here that these are the Canva templates that we have created. Okay, there's multiple in here, and you can use these to actually edit the images, take things out, make it fun, and really make it your own. So all you have to do is you got to go ahead and select this purple button that says use template, okay, and go ahead and make it your own. Okay, now the premise of the cover photo, we just want to get people to join the community. So if you want to get creative, you want to create your own, please go ahead and do so. This is just frameworks that we are providing to you, which will allow you to get a head start and get something off the ground. But again, utilize this as a resource. Don't make this the end all be all, but actually create your own and go from there. So once you have actually added the cover photo, then the next thing that we want to do is we want to add a link to the description of the cover photo. So let me walk you through how to do that. So we're gonna head back over to your Facebook profile. Once you have edited the Canva template, you have downloaded the Canva template, you can go ahead and change your cover photo by selecting here. You're gonna go edit cover photo, upload photo, select the photo that you want to upload, and then it'll help you resize it. Of course, the image that I've selected is not the right one, but you can choose a cover photo and it will actually show up here and you can resize it up and down. Okay. Now, once you have done that, okay, once you've selected that, the next thing that you want to do is you actually want to select the cover photo. Once you select the cover photo, we want to edit the description. Okay. And the way we're going to do that is right here, you'll see a button that just says edit. Once you see that button that says edit, we're just going to select that. And then you're just going to put the link to your Facebook group, right? Very, very, very straightforward. And the link to your Facebook group, you can access it by using the browser on top of your Facebook group. So what you're going to do is just a very simple prompt. Here's an example of a photo cover description right here. Join my free community for ideal people, okay, who are looking to what you help people accomplish. And here's the link to your Facebook group. And then you're going to add the link to your Facebook group. And where do you find the link to your Facebook group? Let me actually walk you through that really quickly. Let's go ahead and leave this. The way you're going to find the link to your Facebook group is you're going to actually head over to your Facebook group that we created. You can actually search it up here. You can go RWA test, okay, which is our group. So if you go into the search bar at the top, you can actually go ahead and search the group. Then at the top in the URL browser, you'll be able to see the link to the Facebook group. Another area where you can grab the link to the Facebook group is you go into group settings. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, you will be able to see web address. There's the web address, and you'll be able to grab your Facebook link from there. Okay, you copy that and you can actually paste it somewhere and have it in the Google Doc. So that way you're organized. And then that way you can go back into your profile, and then you can actually go ahead inside of the cover photo, hit edit, and then you can actually replace the link to your Facebook group. Okay, so that was the quick mini training on how to actually clean up your Facebook profile. So by now, your Facebook profile should be nice and clean. So that way, when you actually start reaching out to potential clients, you can actually do interactions and have interactions with them. And that way they can actually see that your profile is of somebody who is a professional. You are somebody that they actually want to pay $1,200, $2,400, $3,600 to, for you to actually help them get the results that they are actually looking for. So that completes the mini training. And now we'll head back over into the main training. All right, team, welcome back from that mini training. And that should have walked you through how to clean up your profile, make sure that it is professional, make sure that it is ready to use. We have talked to you about changing your cover photo, adding the link to the descriptions and how to do that, and an example of the cover photo description as well. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the cleaning up your Facebook profile section. If you have any questions about the section or anything that we discussed, or if the UI of Facebook has changed, which is the user interface, Facebook is changing this constantly, and it does not look like the mini training that we have, please do not hesitate to reach out to us inside of the student community using the comment sections below. It will actually tag the training that you were commenting on, so it keeps things nice and organized, so we can actually help facilitate you through this process. That was the cleaning up your Facebook profile section, and we'll catch you guys in the next section. All right, team, let's go ahead and jump into the community setup training action steps and the action steps that you need to complete to make sure that you can move on into the next training section. So let's jump into this and dive right on in. So action step number one, as you know, is going to be to go ahead and watch and study these trainings in full. So students that are winner, they actually go through the sections and the training, and they don't actually skip around. So right here, you have the main title of the training. So for this section, it is the community setup. And right underneath community setup, you have all of the list of trainings that are here, which is going to be around naming your community, community setup, creating and publishing your qualification questions, your welcome post, cleaning up your Facebook profile. So it goes all into that. So you want to ensure that you actually go through all of these and actually make sure that you have watched and you've studied the trainings in full. Okay. So that is action step number one. Now, action step number two is all about naming your community. Okay. This is where you're going to create the 3 variations of the names inside of your community. And so go ahead and follow the instructions in the naming your community training section to go ahead and complete action step number 2, which is naming your community. Okay. And then going into action step number 3, this is all around community setup. Okay. This is where you're going to be actually setting up your community inside of the Facebook group and making sure that all of the settings are dialed in to the exact metrics where we want them to be. Okay. So again, go ahead and follow the steps and the instructions in the community setup training section to complete that. Okay. Then moving on to action step number 4, this is going to be all around creating and publishing your qualification questions. So once you have created your community, then you're actually going to set up your qualification questions, which are going to be the gatekeepers of your community, which you can ensure that people that are coming into your community are asking these questions. And again, follow the instructions in the training section of qualification questions to set that up properly. Going into action step number 5, you want to go ahead and create and publish your welcome post. So this is going to be the evergreen post that people are going to see. So go ahead and follow the instructions in the welcome post training section to actually complete all of that. And then go ahead and publish that inside of your Facebook group community as well. Then going into action step number 6, this is going to be cleaning up your Facebook profile, making sure that it is professional, so it is ready to go. So that way, when you're interacting with potential clients, it is professional. You've got your profile set up, you've got your cover photo, and you are ready to rock and roll. So again, follow the steps in the clean up Facebook profile training section to actually set that up properly. Okay. Then action step number 7 is all around submitting your community setup work. Okay. And I'm going to walk you through that in just a second. So how are you going to submit your community setup work? Okay. So below this training, you will actually see that there is an area where you can actually leave a comment. And that is where you're going to be submitting your community setup work, right below this training video. So the way we're going to do this is we want to make sure that you accidentally do not delete this hashtag. Okay. This actually keeps everything organized and allows us to see where the post is actually being made, so we can actually follow it and we can make sure that it is actually in the community setup work. And now there are going to be a few parts when submitting your work to make sure the community setup submission is actually done correctly. So the first part of all of this is going to be around the title. So the title is going to go right there. So the title that you're going to actually place for the submission is going to be community setup. That way we actually know that this is all around your community setup. Now, the submission is actually broken up into 2 parts, okay? If we split it right down the middle right here, part 1 is question, and part 1 is going to be like you're sharing resources and you're sharing links and stuff like that. Remember, guys, when we are sharing the submissions, you want to make sure that it is clear, it is concise, and you're actually taking the time to actually come up with your submissions. Okay, so here you could say something like, hey, RWA family, hey, RWA team, I am struggling with X, Y, and Z. It could be, hey, I'm struggling with setting up the community. I'm struggling with whatever, and you're going to enter that right there. Okay, that's what you're going to type out. Then the potential solutions that I've come up with is 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and this is what we actually want to reference and called empowered question asking. Okay, so this is empowered thinking, empowered question asking, because what this is going to allow you to do is this is going to allow you to get better answers. It's going to allow you to actually get better support. Out of the 3 solutions, or maybe you have 4, 5, 6 solutions, however many solutions you have, out of this many solutions, what do you guys think would be the best? Because then this way, we can actually provide you with the proper solution based on the things that you've actually thought about. And this actually allows us to see that you've actually taken the time to think through the thing that you're struggling with, and you're just not asking for a handout. You want to make sure that you are empowered to think through, because now you are a practitioner, you are a business owner, and part of being a business owner is solving problems. And to solve better problems, you have to ask yourself better questions. And this is a skill set that you will develop as you go through this process. Now, part 2 of your submission is going to be adding in your links and adding in that, hey, I've actually completed, I am ready for the next step, and this is what I have learned. And then you want to make sure that the training hashtag is there. So please, 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 going back into here, do not accidentally delete the hashtag, okay? Just put your cursor to the left and then hit enter so the hashtag goes all the way to the bottom. Now, if you don't have any questions, okay, if you don't have any questions, there's nothing that you're struggling with, you're actually on top of everything, you've got it all dialed in, that is okay. You don't have to ask any questions. You could literally just say, I do not have any questions at this time. But what asking the questions at the top does, it actually helps us make sure that it doesn't get lost at the bottom of your submission so we can see the question clearly. Okay. And then if you're actually submitting your links, if you're using a Google Doc, if you are using any different platform like ClickUp, you can go ahead and share the link in there. Or if you're sharing a link, like for this submission, you're going to be submitting your community link. And so you can go ahead and actually share that community link inside of here. And we'll show you how to do that in just a second. So really quickly, just a quick reminder, we want to make sure that we're actually showing you how to be organized and be conscious and be deliberate with your writing. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. How you organize your writing and how you actually speak allows people to know what's actually going on in your head. And that's how the way you speak and the way you write allows people to know what it is and how it is that you are thinking. Okay. And so really we want to actually, as a reminder, we want to remind you that you are a professional RWP coach. Now, when you reply to your clients, are you going to send them a wall of text with all of your thoughts? Right? You don't want to be all over the place. You are a professional. So you want to communicate in writing professionally. Now, we can actually tell which students' minds are all over the place and how organized they are based on how the comments that they leave, the emails that they send, the way they actually ask their questions. So this is a skill that you are going to learn by doing it over and over again. Okay. So you want to make sure that you actually are more organized in your writing. And the way it starts all by doing it here. Okay. So you don't want to actually just do a blurb of text with no enter, right? You want to be able to separate your thoughts by hitting enter. And what this will allow you to do is this will allow you to separate your thought. It will allow the reader to actually read it very thoroughly and know exactly how to give you support. So if you want to get better answers to your questions or get better support, you have to actually facilitate better support by making sure that you're asking the right questions and you're asking it in the right way. So make sure that you are being organized, you're being conscious, and you're being deliberate with your writing. So moving on, some pro tips on the tech side of things on how to use hyperlinks. For this training submission, you're actually going to be hyperlinking your community. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and actually highlight whatever word that you want to link. And for this section, it's going to be the word here. Then from there, you're going to hit the link button right at the bottom of the post. Then you're going to want to go ahead and actually paste the link, whatever link that it is that you're wanting to use, actually in there. Because if you post your Facebook group link here, it's just going to be this massive link that goes on forever. This way, it's a little bit more organized. Now, if you're sharing like a Loom, if you're sharing something quick, if you're sharing something that's a small link, that's totally okay. But when you're sharing like a Google Doc or a Google Sheet, that is extremely massive, and that tends to be a very large link. Okay, so this is how you're going to go ahead and link it. And then once you hit link, it'll actually make this pop-up disappear, and then your highlighted word will actually just be blue, meaning that it has been linked. So that is the first tech pro tip. Pro tip number 2 is going to be about changing the Google link permission. So if you want us to review your community description, if you want us to review your community welcome post, and you have it inside of a Google Docs, what you want to go ahead and do is you actually want to hit the share button at the top right-hand corner of your Google Doc. Then what you're going to do is you want to actually change your settings here from restricted to anyone with link. This way, when we come in there and we have the time to review your description and your welcome post or your copy when you get there and stuff like that, we can actually pull it up and actually review it right away rather than waiting on you to unrestricted and there's a back and forth and there's a delay in time. We want to make sure that we can actually reduce the feedback loop, because when you reduce the feedback loop, you get your questions answered quickly, and that is what allows you to actually make progress quickly as well. Okay, so moving along, one thing that we want to make sure that we remind you of is that there are 3 points that I would like to make to really make sure that I can reiterate on how to properly learn inside of a community. Again, we do this often, right? Humans need to be reminded more than we need to be taught, right? And you might not need this reminder, but most students do. So please just stick with me here. Now, there are 3 main key points when it comes to learning inside of community. Okay. Point number 1 is going to be how to ask for feedback. Point number 2 is this is a community, right? We're not gurus. So how do you ask properly? And then number 3, this is a two-way street, ask and give. So let me actually dive into each of these really quickly. How to actually ask for feedback. That's point number 1. Now, the humic limbic brain, right? Our brains are designed to conserve energy. That is how we have survived for many, many, many years. And when it doesn't have to expend energy, this is where people start asking for feedback, thoughts, and comments. These are very generalized, vanilla questions. This is not helpful for anyone, especially if you're getting support. So please do not do this. This is purely just being lazy. When students say, hey, I'm just looking for feedback, thoughts, or comments, that doesn't really tell us anything on how they want support. So you have to communicate exactly how you want to be communicated with. So we want to have a more self-empowering approach, and that is very simple, where it's being very precise with your language. I am struggling with X, whatever it is that you're struggling with. And these are the potential solutions that I have come up with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. Now, out of these 3 solutions, which one or what do you guys think would be best? Right? What you're doing is this actually shows the person and the community that you have actually thought through the question itself, right? You've actually done the thinking time to actually create the question properly. So this is a skill and it's going to require conscious effort. So force your mind to think of what specific questions you want the mastermind's help with. Show that you're resourceful to actually think through a lot of your questions. Now, very straightforward. If you're not struggling with anything, you don't have to ask any questions. It's okay. You can just share. I don't have any questions. I'm just sharing this to provide more feedback in the community and more resources inside of the community. That is absolutely okay. Cool. So that is point number 1. Now, moving on to point number 2, this is a very important one for us. This is going to be all around, this is a community and not gurus. Okay. So you're not actually asking the coaches and you're not actually seeking validation from the coaches. Coaches are not gurus. They do not have all of the answers. Okay. They're just going to give their 2 cents based on their experiences. What this is, the 100K Mastermind is a collaborative community. We have really, really, really smart members in here who many times will provide you much more better insight than most of the coaches. So when you're asking questions or feedback or thoughts or comments, speak to the community, ask the community, frame your questions so anyone in the community can answer. What ends up happening is that a lot of people inside of a community end up asking the coaches, yet there are other members who have great insight and they're unable to give their feedback because that feedback was not directed towards them. You'll get more responses this way that'll give you more insight because you're actually able to ask not only the coaches, but also others, especially other students that have actually been in your situation and they've actually gone through this problem. So the power, I just want to remind you, is within the community. Now, moving along to point number 3, there's really a reciprocity system inside of the community. And you will get what you want in life if you help others get what they want. That's a very important quote that we actually live by. And so this is a two-way street. So if you're going to ask, you also have to give. And so if you're going to be speaking to and asking from the community and you're always going to be take, you also have to give. Right? And so if you ask one, this is the rule. If you ask one, you have to give one. Right? And if you feel like you're always operating from a place of scarcity, you're operating from a place of lack, it's because you don't give enough, right? Because you're operating from a place of fear. So if you actually give, no matter how little you have, you're actually going to be in a state of abundance because you actually have enough. Abundance is giving first without any expectation of receiving anything back. Because when you give, People feel indebted, so they will want to actually help you. And that's how all of this process works. So again, we wanted to remind you of these 3 quick points of how the community process works and how you can actually get the most out of this community so you can actually continue to grow and continue to grow your practice, continue to grow yourself, continue to grow your skills, and actually get the results that you want. So ladies and gentlemen, that was the action steps training for the community setup. I hope you enjoyed this and you've got everything set up properly, and we'll catch you guys in the next training.